What Killed Every Pop Star by Dr. Mike. Again, like, I feel like I've been getting, like, I don't want to go too much into this, but I feel like in this scenario and with regards to some of the other videos I've been watching, like, I really like CoffeeZilla's videos, but I don't really have a lot to say about them because, like, it's finances. Like, I don't really know enough about that to discuss it on a really high level. Every observation I can make, it feels like it's just this pedestrian thing, technology. I like looking at technological videos, but I'm practically a Luddite. So, like, I guess maybe I want to kind of get out of watching some of these videos, but this one seemed a little bit more in my line in that it's a little bit historical as well, so maybe we'll see. For the record, kind of, I want to offer a friendly critique to people like Asmongold, because I feel like Asmongold, I like what he has to say about certain subjects, and for the record, I agree with him on political subjects. I just feel like I agree with him on quite a few of those, but I feel like you put him in a scenario where he has to discuss, like, the really litigious aspects of something, and he's not that great. He's at his best when he's just talking shit about games or maybe social issues or even moral stuff. It's more intuitive or whatever. But you put him in a scenario where he has to discuss something that's really litigious politically or something like that, and he kind of is out of his element, if you will. So, my advice, Elon, stick to technology. Asmongold, stick to video games and talking crap about drama and whatnot. You're good at that. Anyways, and I'll try to stick to stuff I kind of at least am interested in or have something to say about. Alright, let's get into this.
Violent gang murders.
Sorry, maybe I noticed this before, but yeah, it's just kind of his initials with a stethoscope. Stethoscope? Not a steth. Is that what it is? What's the one for hearing heartbeats?
A devastating plane crash and a shocking number of drug overdoses that always seem to happen at the age of 27. You know their songs, you know their albums, but do you know how our most treasured musicians and pop stars died? Let's start with Michael Jackson, who in 2009 was killed by his personal physician in an extremely reckless attempt to treat Michael's insomnia. He accidentally administered him an improperly balanced cocktail of medications, including the anesthetic and sedative propofol, that caused him a cardiac arrest. His doctor was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, and the death was unnecessary and heartbreaking to millions. It's actually a key reason why I say rich people, despite all their money, often receive some of the worst health care. Buying your way into good health with expensive scans, medications, and specialty tests can unexpectedly backfire, just like it did for MJ.
That's strange.
Liam Payne was a member of the British boy band One Direction. He died in 2024 in a tragic accident in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Allegedly, Liam returned to his hotel behaving erratically and violently. He was held back to his room and the police were called. By the time they arrived, forensic reports indicate Liam had passed out on the balcony of his third-floor hotel room and tumbled 45 feet to the courtyard below. The fall ended his life, and
What the Harry?
an autopsy revealed he had traces of...
I just feel like people who live life in the fast lane just in general. No, I've heard it, like, some sort of statistic it was that literally just, like, extramarital affairs increases your likelihood to, like, statistically speaking. Obviously there would be other things probably involved with that type of psychological profile, but just like that itself is a little bit indicative of like a higher percent chance to get murdered or die on it, maybe something like that. I'd have to look that up though.
Alcohol, cocaine, and antidepressants in his system. This
Holy crap. Don't mix. Don't do drugs, but don't mix.
combo can easily lead to disorientation, poor coordination, and even syncope. While the fall had been ruled
I don't know what syncope means. I should probably look up that one as well.
accidental, 2 men are still facing charges for having sold Liam the drugs. Norma Jean Mortensen became the first American sex symbol after a massive career as a movie star in the 1950s, but you probably know her better by her stage name, Marilyn Monroe. She not only recorded popular songs like A Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend and starred in classic films like Some Like It Hot. Unfortunately, she likely suffered from serious mental health problems and substance abuse.
To be fair, I'm gonna guess that's most of Hollywood, probably. Just saying. Just saying. There's a certain type of person I think that gets into acting, and it's probably people who have, I don't know. That would be a intriguing study.
At just 36 years old, she was found dead inside her Los Angeles home after an overdose of barbiturates. It's a type of insomnia medication that we no longer use for that purpose. It was
Barbiturates. Yeah.
thought that this tragedy was potentially self-inflicted, but conspiracy theorists will tell you that she was actually killed by President Kennedy and his brother Robert.
Oh dear, guessy. To be fair, like that whole genre of celebrities, it feels like there was lots of stuff going on there. I don't know.
Robert, who were entwined in some salacious love triangle and wanted her silenced. Still waiting on good evidence for that one. Another conspiracy, how about the death of Elvis Presley? The first American rock star and arguably the most iconic musician since Beethoven, Mozart. He's one of the big guys for sure. After growing up
Is he a crooner? That's where he came into stuff? So there was a whole genre of kind of singers that came into that idea. You ain't nothing but. He almost sounded like. I think that would maybe been what that was. I just like looks like an angel, something you can start humming every time some woman is giving you trouble. Looks like an angel.
poor in rural Mississippi and drawing great inspiration from gospel music, R&B, and country, he went on to record
Okay, what's R&B? Rap it? No, not. Yeah, I don't know.
multiple platinum-selling records, star in box office hits, and perform in an extravagant
My dad says he thinks. Well, I don't know if it was the Beatles or something like that, but he thinks a lot of the hype was manufactured a little bit, and for the record, I think that's kind of possible. That it might have been something that was like astroturfed or the like. The studios would have, a whole bunch of people show up or lots of publicity or something. I don't know.
Las Vegas residency. He was also an early health influencer, getting a polio vaccine before his appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show
Oh, it's just like the COVID thing.
to encourage Americans to get vaccinated against the disease.
Yeah, vaccine.
Unfortunately, his healthy behaviors ended
Sorry. I've talked about this before. I tend to be a notion of if you want to get it. The archaic notion of vaccines is pretty intuitive, honestly. But I feel like the newfangled stuff they have these days is perhaps a little bit more dubious or complex at the very least. So I'm I would be in favor of people getting it if they want to or not. Just, my body might, I don't like using that slogan, but yeah, in this case, perhaps so.
there. Elvis became nocturnal, a prescription drug abuser, and a potential food addict. Get
I'm shocked.
this, he once flew his private jet across the country to Denver, Colorado, just to eat the Fool's Gold Loaf sandwich, a deep-fried peanut butter and jelly and bacon
What the Harry?
monstrosity that came in somewhere around 8,000 calories.
That does not seem like a very intuitive combination of ingredients. Just saying.
It was this extreme lifestyle that ultimately did him in. Elvis died on the bathroom floor of his Graceland mansion of a myocardial
Or so they say.
infarction
The king is alive.
or a heart attack in 1977, likely contributed to by his heavy prescription drug abuse. Or he got on an alien spaceship and flew to another planet.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we're going with.
Pick whichever internet chat room rumor you prefer. Amy Winehouse was a British musical
See, I feel like I would have maybe remembered this. I'll have to know exactly when she died, but
icon who became a mainstream success in 2006 because of her album Back to Black, which contained the hit song Rehab. Unfortunately, the lyrics of "They Tried to Make Me Go to Rehab" were tragically ironic, as Amy suffered from substance abuse and related conditions throughout most of her adult life. In 2011, she was found dead in her London home from excessive alcohol consumption. She is a member of the heartbreaking 27 Club, a group of pop culture icons that all died at the age of 27. In one of her
Not there.
final projects,
Sarah.
she actually collaborated on an album with Tony Bennett, the suave and cool crooner whose career spanned 70 years. He continued to perform well into his 90s until he was finally taken by Alzheimer's disease, a condition that slowly kills brain cells and makes the brain shrink. Interestingly, with the lifestyle
Strange.
research we have now, we believe about 40% of cases could be prevented. And while his voice may have been legendary, it was not as good as Whitney Houston's, who Tony Bennett said had the greatest voice of all time. She was a
I think I've heard that name before. I don't know if I've ever. Oh, I have heard that song too, actually. So I guess I wouldn't have known really what the story behind it was.
Grammy-winning
Her
musical
story was.
artist and also had a successful run as an actress, starring in the 1992 movie The Bodyguard alongside Kevin Costner, where she famously sang "I Will Always Love You." Her marriage to musician Bobby Brown was tumultuous, and she also struggled with substance abuse that
Again, I'm shocked. No, I don't know what it is, but everything about that fame and I feel like that there's an untoward level of stimuli that goes along with it that is perhaps causal in some of this stuff. Just the notion of all that fame, all that stress, all that the weight of fame and fortune, I guess, that goes along with it. I feel like that could be part of why people get like this. Or at least like a somewhat causal in that.
negatively impacted her incredible voice. In 2012, Whitney Houston was found dead in her bathtub with an autopsy revealing accidental drowning with contributing factors:
What, the drowning in a bathtub?
heart disease and cocaine intoxication. Tupac Shakur was a key figure in the establishment of America's 1990s gangsta rap movement. His activist message in music and film shine through, speaking truth to power about corrupt policing practices and America's prison industrial complex. On the night of September 7th, 1996, Tupac was in Las Vegas,
Oh, there's a Ferrari thingy in the back here.
leaving the arena after watching a Tyson fight. Tupac was then hit in the chest 4 times in a drive-by shooting by a hidden assailant who sped off. Tupac died 6 days later. The case ran
Did it? Allegedly. No, I don't know. That's kind of the rumor mill, I guess,
cold
at
for
work.
nearly 30 years
I think that it is the kind of the conspiracy, right? That Diddy had something to do with it.
until 2023, when Dwayne Davis was arrested and charged as the ring
Hold on.
sped off. Tupac died 6 days later. The case ran cold for nearly 30 years until 2023, when Dwayne Davis was arrested and charged as the ringleader of the group that
Specious. Misleading.
carried out the murder. Unfortunately, this was just one of the many high-profile gang-related killings in the 1990s.
I guess I don't know. Maybe that is kind of a closed case. I don't know. I just know there were a lot of conspiracies about who was doing what there.
Followed by that of Biggie
I
Smalls.
say a lot. I think there was just the only one I heard of was the one involving what's his number?
Or Notorious B.I.G., legally known as Christopher Wallace. He was another pioneer of the 90s gangsta rap movement, reviving the East Coast rap scene in my old stomping grounds of Brooklyn. He actually dropped out of high school to sell drugs,
Brooklyn.
but he was also bursting with natural talent, earning him a Grammy nomination and opportunities to collab with Michael Jackson. It was highly suspected that this East Coast rap revival ultimately led to his death, as Tupac was a West Coast rapper and Biggie was from the East. He was just 24 years old and his murder remains unsolved. Frank Sinatra was a defining singer and songwriter.
So I feel like he was a part of the whole Kennedy kind of clique that was going on a little bit.
writer of the 20th century who also dazzled audiences with his performance on stage and on the silver screen. His cultural impact was tremendous, from winning Oscars to performing.
Didn't Dean Martin? I think that was Dean Martin there. Didn't he? I think he died of alcohol stuff. Famously a very big drinker, I think. I say famously, I guess I don't know if he was famous for that. I know he was a really big singer, and I think he died of, I think he was drunk a lot of the time.
For screen. His cultural impact was tremendous, from winning Oscars to performing with Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. as the Rat Pack to helping JFK win the presidential election by serving as a liaison between the administration and the Italian mob?
What the Harry?
Allegedly.
For the record, I think there were stories that he was kind of yoked up with the wise guys. That's a completely terrible phraseology, but yeah, I think he was involved with the mob.
He died at the age of 82 from a heart attack, likely contributed to by a lifetime of alcohol and tobacco use. Remember that we have clear proof that alcohol, especially when consumed in large amounts, is cardiotoxic. John Lennon was the iconic Beatle who helped ignite.
Kill John Lennon. Kill. Sorry. I don't even really watch South Park. That's just I see all the memes and whatnot. It's hard not to get like in the same way like Game of Thrones and a whole bunch of them. They're just kind of ubiquitous on YouTube these days. You see all the memes and I do like watching greatest hits sometimes. So. I want your jewel. Sorry. Who is the name of the Jew in that one? The 9/11 one where Cartman is trying to pin it on the Jewish kid.
The British
Hilarious.
invasion of rock music in the 1960s. He co-wrote legendary songs like A Hard Day's Night and Imagine that have been inescapable in pop music. His death sent shockwaves around the world when it was announced on Monday Night Football on December 8th, 1980.
John Lennon, outside of his apartment building on the west side of New York City, the most famous perhaps of all of the Beatles, shot twice in the back, rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, dead.
So I wouldn't have thought of like the Beatles as being kind of involved with anything really violent. They're kind of, I guess I don't know though.
On arrival.
A crazed fan seeking fame named Mark David Chapman sat waiting for the legendary Beatle to
Or so they say.
emerge from the Dakota, his famous apartment building on the Upper West Side of New York. When he did, Chapman shot him in the back and shoulder. As Lennon's body lay bleeding on the New York sidewalk, the doorman turned to Chapman and said, "Do you know what you just did?" He excitedly replied, "I just shot John Lennon." Creepy. As Howard Cosell
That is strange. It's like a social media hive mind mentality before there was social media. Well, technically, I guess there was still the news, there was still the cameras, there was still all that stuff. But man, it's brain rot at its finest.
said on Monday Night
Clout Goblin at its finest. I don't know.
Football, John was quickly
stuff.
transported to a nearby hospital where he was declared dead on arrival. John Lennon is not the only Beatle that we lost, though. George Harrison, who is responsible for songs like While My Guitar Gently Weeps and Here Comes the Sun. In 1999, he was attacked in his own home by an intruder and received multiple stab wounds. But he survived with a collapsed lung. It would have taken an even more aggressive killer to take down George Harrison. Unfortunately, that would wind up being oral cancer, likely caused by a lifetime of heavy smoking. The Beatles weren't the only British rock band to dominate the airwaves, though, paving the way for Freddie Mercury of the band Queen.
He was a good singer, really good. I've gotten the idea he had like a really crazy range as well, or maybe I'm thinking that they just had like one of each in their band. I'm not for sure though.
Who pioneered an original sound of operatic rock music amidst a decade of disco. He
Bohemian Rhapsody, is that what that?
is not only one of the most dynamic musical performers of all time, but a queer icon. Known for his sexually fluid lifestyle,
Ooh.
unfortunately, the sexual freedom of that era likely led him to contracting and dying
He looks like Johnny Depp there. Literally looks like Johnny Depp.
from complications related to AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. AIDS
It was actually weird. I think he ended up giving his house to kind of a girl he liked but wasn't attracted to, like because he was gay or something. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a weird type of, romantic / emotional / I don't know what.
is caused by HIV, a sexually transmitted infection, and damages a person's immune system, making them highly susceptible to other diseases and complications. Today, pharma breakthroughs have created antiviral treatments that protect HIV patients from developing AIDS, allowing for an almost identical lifespan to those without the condition, given an early diagnosis. Prince's rise to fame came in 1983 when his first crossover hit.
I don't know if I ever really heard much of Prince's stuff. Fun fact, when you say Prince's, it almost just sounds like princess.
Little Red Corvette had a music video air on MTV.
Under the Cherry Moon. The only reason I know that is from a Psych episode where I think they were talking about I think, what was the girl? I can't remember her name. Juliet was like, oh, I saw Prince, or we found Prince. Was he in a little red Corvette under a cherry moon?
Entering him a massive, massive audience, making him one of the first black musicians to air on the network. His album, Purple Rain, won an Academy Award, and he's also known for having delivered perhaps the most legendary Super Bowl halftime show ever in 2007 in Miami in the rain. He was the definition of cool. He was an electric performer, but decades of leaving it all on the stage took a toll on his body, leaving him in a lot of pain, which led him to use prescription pain medication. In 2016, he was at his home in Minnesota when he collapsed inside of an elevator after taking what he thought was prescription Vicodin, an opioid pain reliever, but was instead a counterfeit medication laced with deadly amounts of fentanyl, which is 50 to 100 times more potent. He didn't even know
Well, it's like fentanyl before fentanyl was a thing.
what he was taking. David Bowie was a prolific British rock star who released 26 albums in just 50 years. This guy worked. His hits Young Americans and Heroes are only a couple of the dozens
Again,
of his
I don't know
songs
if I
that
really listened to a lot of David Bowie stuff.
dominated the charts in the 70s and 80s. In 2004, he survived a heart attack while on stage and retreated from public life for about a decade. He never stopped making music, though, producing work until 2016 when he died of liver cancer, a condition he kept so secret that many of his bandmates didn't even realize he was terminally ill. George Michael was a British pop star who blew up thanks to MTV with this massive
That one I would have known. I would have known that song in any case.
hit, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, by his band Wham, which went on to become the first Western pop band
I don't care. He has a band named Wham. Ridiculous.
to tour China. In 1998, he was arrested for disorderly conduct when an undercover police officer observed him performing a lewd act in a public restroom in Beverly Hills. You can read the details on your own if you'd like, but the incident forced George Michael to come out of the closet on CNN and establish himself as one of the most prominent gay figures in media. Unfortunately, his popularity waned over the next 15 years or so, and his drug use increased. He died on Christmas Day in 2016 from dilated cardiomyopathy with myocarditis and fatty liver. Kurt Cobain was the singer and leader of the 90s alt-rock band Nirvana. By all accounts, he had a happy childhood until his parents divorced, which sent him spiraling and changed his outlook on
To be fair, that I imagine that has quite a bit of an effect on a lot of kids.
the world. He funneled this point of view into the music for his band Nirvana, which released a
Sound like
debut
a-
album
okay.
called Nevermind, and whose single
I'm assuming that's a left-handed guitarist, right? So I think he would the dominant hand would be the one strumming, whereas the other one would be the one holding, right? I think that would be the case.
Smells Like Teen Spirit became a defining song of the 90s and the alt-rock genre. He married singer Courtney Love, and the two had a child, but unfortunately things for Kurt weren't going well. He claimed to suffer for years from stomach pain, which led to depressive symptoms, which he medicated with heroin and painkillers. He actually
What could possibly go wrong?
overdosed on champagne and Rohypnol, which is 7 times more potent than Valium, while he was in Rome, and was sent
Holy crap, that's weird.
to a rehab facility in Southern California. He escaped, fled north to his home in Washington State, where his life ended at just 27 years old. Marvin Gaye was a soul musician known as the Prince of Motown, and while his music may have been romantic,
I kind of like Motown, but like that style of stuff. I don't know if I've ever really gotten to Marvin Gaye stuff. I don't really like jazz in general. Maybe that's what Motown is. Maybe I don't like Motown. I'm not for sure, but I like. There's a weird. I guess just in general I don't like jazz, but for whatever reason I really like the style of music, whatever it is, on the Sly Cooper soundtrack, which is actually like I do it on the intro to my streams, kind of. But that's a really cool soundtrack. If you want to look it up, there are copies of it on YouTube, so you can listen to the whole thing. But it's a really cool, both the second and the third. I don't know about the first really, but like the second and the third Sly Cooper games. If you look up the soundtrack, really cool soundtrack, second to none in my opinion.
and rich, his death was truly heartbreaking. In 1984, he had enjoyed enormous industry success, but also racked up debt due to his cocaine addiction. The 44-year-old singer moved in with his parents in an
Again, shocked, astonied.
attempt to get on his feet. Unfortunately, his relationship with his abusive father had reached a breaking point. The two started an argument that led to a
I wonder, like, if like the experience of celebrities back in the day would be almost parallel to our experience with regards to social media and all the news that we get these days. Because again, I don't think we're meant to have that much stimuli and to worry about that much and have that much going on in our lives. Like, I feel like, I don't know.
physical altercation in the house.
There's a certain level of stress that we're meant to deal with, perhaps, and that's perhaps even healthy. But what we have going on these days, maybe not so much.
In
Right. We'll finish out this one, and then you can watch the rest of it on your own.
Marvin's growing cocaine-induced paranoia, he had actually given his father a revolver to protect the family. This would lead to his death. Marvin Gaye was shot and killed by
Not the area.
his own father with that very gun. The LA County Coroner's Office officially
Okay.
stated that he suffered a gunshot wound to his chest, perforating his heart, lung, and liver. His father pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter and received the sentence of probation, with the judge ruling Marvin had provoked the attack and any prison time could be a death sentence for the frail old man. According to Marvin's
That's unfortunate.
brother, who cradled him in his arms during his final moments, his last words were, "I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it." Johnny Cash
All right. You guys can check the rest of that out if you like.